Hi, this is Brent with Trade Therapy and another chart breakdown video. This morning it is Monday morning, February 24th. We are talking about Marathon. Mara. We spotlighted Mara back in January and never did drop a video for it, so we thought we'd drop one now. I think it's a pretty good time to do that. We did spotlight coin last week, but Mara did not make it into that issue. If you haven't read it yet, read it. It's an exciting time across the crypto sector. Um, uh, this Mara chart, for those of you that follow us on the socials, on FinTwit, on either StockTwits or X, you saw that we bought the dip on Mara on Friday. And so we thought it'd be a good time to drop a video and talk about why we did that and support the spotlight that we did for Mara back in January. Mara was the first spotlight um, of the year for us. This was the longer term view that we covered in January. This is the all-time weekly view. You can see that there's a cycle right here, a complete cycle. There's distribution, redistribution, comes down and goes through a very large accumulation structure here, and then immediately reaccumulates before it even gets up to all-time highs. So it's very peculiar, very interesting, very kind of awkward looking giant cup base that is building here. So some will argue that this is a cup and handle. It's come down too far, I believe, to actually qualify and meet the technical um, requirements of a cup and handle. But from an institutional standpoint, what's the strategy when you see something like this, a massive inverted head and shoulders, and then a smaller inverted head and shoulders here? These are classic reversal bullish structures. And what's happening here is institutions, Wall Street, have big plans for Mara. They know that Mara is holding a very large amount of Bitcoin. And so they are trying to buy as much of it as they can. They're trying to accumulate as much of it as they can. That's why you see this immediate shakeout here and reaccumulation right after an accumulation structure here. It never went forward out into phase E. So this is technically still part of this massive accumulation structure. But for this chart and how we covered it in January, this is accumulation, this is reaccumulation. We did talk about this concept of a creek. And so a Wyckofian concept of a creek is this kind of imaginary line you draw through here, and it connects the highs. And then as something jumps across the creek, and there's an entire strategy around the creek that we talk a lot about in our content. Um, and so as they jump, as Wall Street and institutional money pushes over the creek, they want to take people out that are chasing all of these profits. This is eye candy right here. So they jump across the creek and bring everybody into it and then flush them right back out of it because they have bigger plans here. And that allows them to build very large positions at lower costs. At lower levels. So that's what forms these structures, these inverted head and shoulder patterns, these accumulation structures, whatever you want to call it, these Adam and Eve structures. That's the strategy behind these sharp price moves. So in January, we were talking about, and sorry, jumped off of that too quickly. We were looking for a breakdown of the all-time demand line right here. We talked about how, especially when you see a highly valued asset, that professional money is reaccumulating before they really even get out of the accumulation structure. They are trying to get as many retail investors out of this trade as they possibly can. Under those circumstances, we would expect them to do a false breakdown right here. And so we took a closer look at what that might look like in association to our creek. And we thought, they might do one more back up to the edge of the creek and even maybe dip slightly below that. And so that's what we were looking for. We also talked about how the bottom of this last C wave and this larger ABC corrective wave, this last structure right here marks the end of wave two and the beginning of wave three. So there's a lot of interest in the liquidity right here, and also from a professional money standpoint, there's a lot of interest in pushing all of the retail investors out of this trade, and this is where they do this is where they're looking to do that. Those of you that follow us on, and I've jumped over to a live chart here. Those of you that follow us on the socials, on either StockTwits or X, we did post that we bought this dip right there on Friday because we know that it's below the all-time demand line. We know that it's within just under $1 down to the creek here. We know that it's in the last wave 5 of this last wave C. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that there's no more legs here. It's not going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's not how it works. So we know that there is seller exhaustion here happening. We do see that they have earnings coming up on Wednesday. Everything across all of the crypto sector does look very bullish. We spotlighted Coin this weekend. Mara did not make it into that edition, but we did cover MicroStrategy. We covered the Bitcoin miners with WGMI and Iron. Um, we in Obviously Bitcoin and Coinbase. So if you're not subscribing to our content, you should be. We set this up. We set up this trade back in January. Members of Trade Therapy and readers of Clarity took advantage of this. We've already been contacted by several of them. It's a great time to add to this. That's what we're doing. Don't take any of our content or any of our comments in this video or any of our content to be personal financial advice. We're not um, uh, advising any of you to get involved with Mara. We're just simply covering our trade that we are involved in, our firm, and how we evaluate when to get involved in these late stage, in this case, reaccumulation, shakeout moves towards the end. For those of you that are reading our content and read the Mara um, Clarity Spotlight earlier this year, sorry we didn't get this video out to you sooner. Those of you that read Coin this weekend, this may be just a little extra content there to reinforce some of the concepts that we were covering in this weekend's Spotlight on Coin. Hope everybody had a great weekend and hope everybody has a great week trading.